What's up YouTube, Capital G here, checking out the brand new Eldritch archetype that just got revealed, coming out of Secret Slayers. I already covered the boss monster of this archetype. If you guys missed that video, I'll probably have him on the screen, and I'll probably have his effect so I don't have to recover that card. Anyways, this is coming out in Secret Slayers alongside of like Adamantia, and it's an interesting concept Konami has here because this is an archetype with only one monster, and I don't mean like one main deck monster like Sky Striker or Invoked, which both came from deck building sets as well. This archetype has just one monster. Everything else is a spell and trap, which is kind of crazy, but the spells and the traps are broken down into two kind of like subcategories, and essentially they have floating effects that get the other categories. So it's a really interesting design Konami has built this on. It seems a little flimsy, but you know, who knows what they can do. It's also very zombie based. Anyways, we'll go ahead and we'll check out their first spell card. This is Cursed Eldland, and I believe that this entire archetype is based on the city of El Dorado, which is supposed to be like filled with gold. If you ever seen that movie, Road to El Dorado, you understand what I'm talking about. Anyways, you got 3 effects on this card. It's continuous spell, as I said earlier. The second and third effects are hard once per turn. First effect, you cannot attack with monsters except zombie monsters. As I said before, there are a lot of effects in this archetype that lock you into zombie stuff. Second effect, you can pay 800 life points, that's a cost, add 1 Eldlich monster or golden land spell / trap from your deck to your hand. That's one of the subcategories of the spells and traps in this archetype. Third effect, if this card is sent from the field or the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, you can send 1 Eldlich monster or golden land spell / trap from your deck to your hand. So a lot of Cleafort players are probably going to raise an eyebrow and be like, wait a minute, pay 800 life points to get a search? We know about that. Obviously, this is the search card for the archetype. You're probably going to run a high number of this. It does search the only monster in the archetype, the boss monster, and at the same time, it can search about half of your spell and trap cards. Also, the boss monster can send this from the field to the graveyard, and then it can trigger its other effect, which can send one of your other golden land spells and traps to the grave. Those cards float in the graveyard, so this seems like a very solid card for the archetype. I don't understand why it doesn't search both of the categories of spells and traps, but getting one of them seems okay, and 800 life points really isn't that big of a problem. Cleafort players don't complain about it, so I'm not going to complain about it either. The first subcategory of spells and traps in this archetype is Eldlixir, and the first card is Eldlixir of Black Awakening. This is a normal spell, and these cards, the Eldlixirs, are very similar to like Thunder Dragons. You can pick and choose which effect you want to activate, but you can't use both effects in the same turn. The first effect says special summon 1 zombie monster from your hand or deck in defense position. If you do not control an Eldritch monster, you can only special summon an Eldritch monster with this effect. For the rest of the turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except zombie monsters. Did not tell you it locks you into zombies when you use a lot of these cards. Second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, set 1 golden land spell / trap directly from your deck to your field. The second effect, it basically just works with the other subcategory. You have your Eldlixir spells and traps, and then you have your golden land spells and traps. So the first effect, before I realized that you needed an Eldritch monster on the field, otherwise you could only summon like another Eldritch, that effect seemed nuts. I mean, obviously this can summon the boss monster from the deck, but it would have been absolutely insane if you didn't need to control that Eldritch monster. I mean, this does give you the potential of summoning things like Unizombie and Baller Drock straight from the deck, or Glow Up Bloom to potentially get Baller Drock. But even if you don't happen to have any Eldritch cards, this can still just summon the boss monster. And a lot of the trap cards in this archetype are kind of like trap monsters that count as Eldritch monsters, so you'll understand a little more when I get to them. But this definitely feels like a card you're going to run a decent amount of. It feels like one of the starter cards for the archetype. Next up is Eldlixir of White Fate, and actually when it comes to the Eldlixir cards, I don't need to read the second effect over and over again because it's the same when it comes to all these cards. You just banish this card from the graveyard, and then you set a golden land spell or trap directly from your deck. This kind of makes me think that you can run Magician Souls in this deck, considering all these spells and traps have like bonus effects that activate from the graveyard. Anyways, this card special summons a zombie monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, and then it has that same exact clause where you either have to have an Eldritch monster or you can only summon an Eldritch monster. This is, I mean, it's a monster reborn for the archetype. Well, I guess it's more like Cyber Rev system because it does allow you to special summon from the hand or the graveyard. I mean, this archetype only has one card though, or one monster I should say, so I don't know how many copies of this you are going to run. It definitely feels like it could be a minimum of a one of, but I don't know because again, it only has one monster for the entire archetype, so I don't know if you really need a monster reborn style card. Next up is the first trap card when it comes to Eldlixirs. This is Eldlixir of Red Splatter, and unless I'm mistaken, this is the exact same text as the Eldlixir of Black Awakening. It's like the same exact card, and some of you guys might be wondering, well, why would they make the same card twice? The reason that it is a trap card and not a spell is because the Golden Land cards allow you to set the Eldlixir cards on your field during your end phase. So I imagine you would probably want to get this and then be able to use this during your opponent's turn, where you would not be able to do that with the Black Awakening. So basically it's the same exact card, but you can use it during your opponent's turn. Take that for what you will. We've got another trap card. This is neither an Eldlixir, actually no, excuse me, this is the first Golden Land. This is Guardian of the Golden Land, continuous trap card, and you have to pick and choose which effect you want to use, just like the other cards between the two effects. First effect says special summon this card to your monster zone as a normal monster, zombie, light, level 8, 800 attack, 2500 defense. It's still treated as a trap card. If you control an Eldritch the Golden Lord, you can make one face-up monster's attack become 0 during the end phase, second effect, excuse me. During the end phase, and this is the bonus effect of the Golden Land cards, you can banish this card from your graveyard, set one Eldlixir spell / trap directly from your deck to your field. So you kind of understand how this archetype works. It feels like an archetype where you just want to load your graveyard up with these spells and traps as quickly as humanly possible, because the Eldlixirs get you the Golden Lands and the Golden Lands get you the Eldlixirs. So yeah, definitely cards like Card Destruction or maybe Magician Souls, ways of turboing these guys into the graveyard, seems like it would definitely benefit this archetype. Your next Golden Land is actually a card that's almost identical to the last one. The only difference is the stat line on your token, or I guess your monster trap, whatever you want to consider it. It's level 5, 1800 attack, 1500 defense, and instead of being able to make a monster's attack 0, if you happen to control the Golden Lord, which of course is the boss monster of the archetype, this allows you to banish a card from either player's graveyard. I don't really know what you banish from your own graveyard. They have one card that kind of works with that, but for the most part, you're going to banish from your opponent's graveyard. This seems like an interesting design, but I don't love the fact to get the bonus effects from your tokens or your monster traps. Essentially, you have to have the boss monster already on the field. That does seem like a problem. Also, none of these bonus effects, like banish a card from your opponent's graveyard or make a monster 0 attack, none of them feel like really all that powerful. Kind of feel like they should all just, I don't know, do really nice like +1 effects, like banish a card on your opponent's side of the field, because we're already playing with trap monsters for God's sakes in 2020. Anyways, the next Golden Land card, and this is the last token one, is a level 5, 500 attack and 1800 defense. See, none of these guys are beaters either. All these token monsters, their stat lines are not very good. This one does let you destroy one face-up card your opponent controls, or actually it can be a card on your side. Again, it's if you have Eldlich the Golden Lord. You have to have the boss monster to be able to do that. So this is interesting. Konami giving us an archetype in 2020 with 3 trap monsters. But the good thing is the Eldlixir cards can just get these and set them onto the field. So at least that's kind of nice. You don't have to necessarily hard draw your Golden Land cards. You can just kind of get them directly from your deck. Now, the card that actually I'm very excited about. As soon as I read this card, I raised my eyebrow. I was like, okay, we might actually have something here. This is the Ever Glorious Golden Land. It's a counter trap, which I love counter traps. Everybody knows that. It's a hard once per turn, and it says when a spell / trap or monster effect is activated while you control an Eldlich monster, tribute 1 zombie monster, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So this is your Infernity Barrier for the archetype, and The best thing about this card is you can set it directly from your deck. So this is, I imagine this is going to be your primary way of defending yourself. Because one thing I was looking at this archetype and I noticed, I was like, this archetype doesn't really have like a lot of reliable disruption, not good disruption anyways. Now the one caveat is you can only activate this card when you have Golden Lord on the field because he's the only monster in the entire archetype. Maybe if Konami gives them more monsters in the future, then it will be a little easier to use. But I don't think that that's going to be a problem. Your Eldlixirs all summon him like from the deck or from the graveyard anyway, so I don't even think that that's going to be a problem. And you know, they have the trap card that can summon him from the deck during the opponent's turn, so even if you don't have them, you can just set that card from your deck, activate it during like your opponent's draw phase, summon him from the deck, and then boom, your Infernity Barrier is online and you don't even have to tribute him. You can tribute another zombie monster. But you know, an Infernity Barrier type card, even if it does make you tribute one of your monsters on field, always going to be good in Yu-Gi-Oh! Our final card is another trap, and it has two very powerful effects. This is El Dorado Adelantado, and I don't speak Spanish, so for any of the amigos who speak Spanish, let me know what that means in the comment section below. This is a normal trap that says it's a hard once per turn. The first effect says if you control an Eldlich monster, activate one of these effects. So you can either shuffle 3 of your Eldlixir spells and traps with different names into your deck, and if you do, destroy all cards on the field, or you can shuffle 3 of your banished Golden Land spells and traps. Those can have the same name actually, and if you do, half your opponent's life points, then gain life points equal to the amount you lost. So I looked at that first effect and I was like, whoa, that's basically a Judgment Dragon, but it's a quick effect Judgment Dragon. There are not a lot of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That I can think of, you know, trap cards that blow up the entire field and that you can do during, or you can use that effect during your opponent's turn. That seems absolutely insane to me. I really like the design of this card because there are multiple effects and both of them seem incredibly strong. My biggest beef with this card is it's not searchable. Like, it is neither a Golden Land or an Eldlixir card, so how exactly am I supposed to get to this card other than hard drawing it? I can't search it, I can't set it directly from my deck. I don't know, maybe Konami thought it would have been too powerful if it was searchable, but I feel like that's just a buzzkill. I don't know how many of this card you'll need to run, but it definitely seems like a card with a very high ceiling. Overall, this is a very interesting archetype. I don't know if it'll be competitive because it feels like there is, the biggest problem is just that you have to control an Eldritch monster to kind of do anything, and outside of the boss monster, your only way of doing that is to use your trap monsters, and that seems kind of slow, but definitely feels like it can be an archetype that's very fun to play. And again, I love that they have their Infernity Barrier or their Satella Nova Alpha. Anyways, whatever you guys think of this archetype, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.